What if I told you a millionaire could sell a 2,000 square foot house in Los Angeles, move to Texas, buy a mansion with a pool and land, and still have money left over? Sounds impossible, right? But that's exactly why wealthy Californians are looking south. Today, we're counting down 10 Texas towns where high-income families are trading California prices for bigger homes, more land, private communities, and a completely different way of life. We're talking gated ranches, luxury developments, elite school districts, and towns where your money can buy dramatically more house than it can in Los Angeles. Number 4 has a school district wealthy parents are willing to pay almost anything to get their kids into. And number 1 isn't the Texas city you would expect to see on a Millionaires relocation list. If you think wealthy Californians are only moving to Austin, Dallas, or Houston, this countdown might change your mind. Hit subscribe because on this channel, we uncover the Texas most people never hear about. And if your California landlord just raised the rent again, don't worry, he's probably using the extra money to buy his next Texas house. Just kidding. Let's get into it. Number 10. Colleyville. Colleyville sits quietly in Tarrant County, and it does not scream for attention. It just quietly gets richer every year. Median household income here runs around $203,000, nearly 3 times the national average. The average home sells for about $886,000. Go Banking Rates named Colleyville one of the fastest-growing wealthy suburbs in the entire country. Once you know why, it makes sense. Colleyville sits minutes from Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, which matters a lot to executives still flying back for meetings. No more 3-hour drives just to catch a flight. The Grapevine Colleyville School District consistently ranks among the top public systems in Texas. That is a big deal for families leaving expensive California private schools behind. This town still feels small, even with all that money floating around, with horse properties tucked behind quiet hedges. Compare that to Los Angeles, where knowing your neighbor's name sometimes feels like a myth. Most residents reach downtown Fort Worth in about 25 minutes, and downtown Dallas in roughly 35. Baylor, Scott & White and other major hospital networks operate within easy reach for families here. Colleyville is genuinely one of the pricier towns on this list, but an $800,000 home here often costs double or triple in Los Angeles or Orange County for less space. That gap is exactly why California families keep circling this town on real estate apps. It offers something California increasingly cannot, and that is space without giving up convenience. Big lots, good schools, close to the airport, and a shorter commute than most Angelinos could ever imagine. Not flashy like Beverly Hills, but quiet, steady wealth building an entire community one lot at a time. Local realtors say inventory rarely stays listed longer than a couple of weeks before it sells. For families used to bidding wars in Los Angeles, that pace will feel oddly familiar, just with better odds of actually winning. Number 9. Celina. If Texas had a town that basically appeared out of nowhere and started printing money, it would be Celina. A few years ago, most people outside North Texas had never even heard the name. Now it ranks as the second fastest growing wealthy suburb in the entire United States, second in the whole country. Celina sits north of Dallas in that fast expanding corridor where farmland keeps turning into master planned communities overnight. Drive through here and construction cranes practically stack on top of each other. For California transplants used to decades-long permitting fights just to add a room, this speed feels almost unreal. In coastal California, building anything new can take years of red tape. In Celina, entire neighborhoods rise in a matter of months. Celina offers wealthy families with young kids something specific, and that is room to grow, with sprawling new homes and private ponds. Compare that to raising 3 kids in a cramped Los Angeles suburb where even a modest yard costs a fortune. Commutes into Dallas typically run 45 minutes to an hour, depending on traffic. Still, nothing compared to sitting on the 405 for 2 hours straight. Local hospital systems have been actively expanding services to keep pace with all these new residents. Celina has grown so fast that longtime locals joke the town motto should mention never finishing construction. Nobody is really complaining though, because that growth keeps property values climbing. For millionaires escaping Los Angeles, it means getting in early, before prices catch up to Southlake or Westlake levels. Smart money loves getting in before everyone else catches on. Prosper Independent School District and Celina Independent School District have both expanded rapidly just to keep pace with new families arriving every month. That kind of investment tells you the growth is not slowing down anytime soon. Number 8. Prosper. Prosper is one of those towns where the name genuinely fits the reality. Over the past several years, this North Dallas suburb has seen population growth of roughly 81%. That is not a typo. That is an explosion. Median household income sits around $187,000, with average home values near $823,000. Go Banking Rates ranked Prosper the third fastest growing wealthy suburb in the entire country. So what is pulling families here? Space mostly, and lots of it. Prosper offers noticeably larger lots than nearby Southlake, a big draw for families who want land without giving up good schools. Prosper Independent School District has built a reputation for strong academics and heavy investment in new campuses. For California families used to overcrowded classrooms, that kind of investment feels almost unbelievable. Would you trade a cramped 3-bedroom in Los Angeles for double the space in a town most people cannot even find on a map? Yet, let me know in the comments because I am genuinely curious how many of you would take that trade. The Dallas North Tollway provides a fairly direct route into the city for commuters. Most residents report drive times to downtown Dallas landing between 40 and 55 minutes. New medical campuses and urgent care facilities have opened specifically to serve Prosper's booming population. With growth this fast, some residents complain about ongoing road construction and strain on local infrastructure. Growing pains are real, and Prosper is living through them right now. Still, most families here say it is worth it for more square footage, a real yard, and a garage that fits more than one car. Compare that to paying similar money for a condo in parts of Los Angeles County, and the appeal becomes obvious fast. For millionaires who grew up wanting a big backyard, Prosper delivers exactly that, at a price that still feels almost reasonable. Give it a few more years, and this quiet growth story might not stay quiet much longer. Number 7. Fulshear. Now we are getting into serious territory because Fulshear currently holds the title of the single fastest growing wealthy suburb in the entire United States. Not just in Texas, the entire country. Over the last 5 years, Fulshear's population has grown by roughly 237%. Sit with that number for a second because that kind of growth is almost unheard of anywhere in America. Fulshear sits about 37 miles west of downtown Houston, and it used to be sleepy farmland not too long ago. Now it is one of the hottest addresses for wealthy families relocating from expensive coastal states. The appeal comes down to a simple formula: brand new luxury construction combined with genuinely more land than California could ever offer. Master-planned communities here come with private lakes, golf courses, and homes that would cost triple in Los Angeles or the Bay Area. Speaking of growth stories that never seem to slow down, if towns exploding in population fascinate you the way they fascinate me, stick around for our next video. We're covering the flip side of this whole story, looking at Texas towns that are actually shrinking and might not exist 50 years from now. It is a wild contrast to everything we are talking about today, so keep an eye out for that one dropping soon, right here on Texas Reality. Back to Fulshear, because there is more worth knowing. Commute times into downtown Houston typically run 45 minutes to an hour, depending heavily on traffic patterns. Still, nothing compared to some Los Angeles commutes eating up 2 or 3 hours daily. New hospital campuses and specialty clinics have opened specifically to serve Fulshear's growing families, with major Houston area systems racing to keep up. With growth this explosive, traffic on the main roads leading into town can get congested during peak hours. It is a real trade-off worth knowing about before you pack the moving truck. But for wealthy transplants, that minor inconvenience is nothing compared to what they left behind. Would you rather sit in Los Angeles traffic for 2 hours or deal with slightly busier local roads in a town still cheaper than most California suburbs? For most people making this move, that answer is not close at all. Local builders say new phases of these master-planned communities keep selling out faster than crews can finish them. That pace alone tells you exactly how much demand is still pouring in from out-of-state buyers. Number 6. Bellaire. Bellaire holds a title that surprises a lot of people, and that is the richest small town in the entire state of Texas. Median household income sits at $236,311, the 11th highest of 50 towns studied nationwide, one from every state. The average home value here runs past $1.12 million. Now, here's the twist that makes Bellaire genuinely unique. Calling it a small town is honestly a bit of a stretch. Bellaire sits less than 10 miles from downtown Houston, and it is completely surrounded by the city itself. It is really more of a wealthy island tucked inside a much bigger metro area. Population runs just over 17,000 residents, keeping that small town feel even minutes from a major city. Imagine Beverly Hills level wealth density, but with a 5-minute drive to a massive city, without the Beverly Hills level chaos. One of the biggest draws to Bellaire involves healthcare, and this one deserves real attention. Bellaire sits just minutes from the Texas Medical Center, widely recognized as the largest medical complex in the entire world. For families with aging parents or specific medical needs, that proximity is often the deciding factor in choosing where to live. Traffic within Bellaire itself stays relatively calm, since it is primarily residential with tree-lined streets and older, established neighborhoods. Commuting into central Houston during rush hour can still test your patience, much like most major metro areas. Most residents report commutes into downtown running 15 to 25 minutes, depending on the route, still dramatically shorter than what many Los Angeles commuters deal with every morning. Because Bellaire is so tightly built and established, available land is limited, keeping competition for homes fierce and prices climbing steadily. This is not a town of sprawling 5-acre ranches. Lots here stay smaller and more traditional. For millionaires who want proximity to world-class hospitals and genuine access to a major city, Bellaire checks nearly every box. It might not have the sprawling ranch feel some towns on this list offer, but for pure convenience, it is hard to beat. Number 5. Bunker Hill Village. Bunker Hill Village does not get talked about nearly enough, and that is honestly part of its charm. This quiet Houston enclave was recently ranked the 8th richest small town in the entire United States. 8th in the whole country! And most people outside Texas have probably never heard of it. Bunker Hill Village sits alongside neighbors like Bellaire and West University Place, forming a cluster of some of the wealthiest addresses anywhere in America. What sets this town apart is the sheer level of privacy residents enjoy here. Large, mature trees line nearly every street, creating a canopy that makes homes practically disappear from view. For wealthy families who value discretion as much as luxury, that privacy is worth an enormous premium. Compare that to certain wealthy Los Angeles neighborhoods, where paparazzi and constant traffic make true privacy nearly impossible. If all this talk about hidden, wealthy Texas enclaves has you curious where retirees are quietly relocating to, we actually broke down a whole list on exactly that in one of our previous videos. It is called Why Smart Retirees Are Moving to These 12 Texas Towns, and you will find the link right in the description below. Back to Bunker Hill Village, because there is more worth knowing. Just like Bellaire, this town sits within close range of the Texas Medical Center, giving residents access to some of the finest hospitals and specialists anywhere on the planet. For families managing chronic conditions or caring for elderly parents, that access genuinely changes daily life. Commutes into downtown Houston typically run around 20 minutes, sometimes less depending on traffic, a stark contrast to sprawling Los Angeles, where even short trips can eat up half your afternoon. Home prices here run comparably to Bellaire, often exceeding $1 million depending on lot size and renovation level. Because Bunker Hill Village is so small and exclusive, available homes rarely hit the open market, and when they do, competition moves fast. You need to be ready to move quickly the moment something desirable appears. For millionaires escaping the exposure of Los Angeles, this town offers something increasingly rare: true anonymity paired with serious luxury. Sometimes the biggest luxury money can buy is simply being left alone. Number 4. Boerne. Now we head west into the Texas Hill Country, because Boerne offers something completely different from everything we have covered so far. This is not flashy suburban wealth built on new construction and country clubs. This is old-fashioned hill country charm mixed with serious, growing money. Boerne sits roughly 31 miles northwest of San Antonio, with a typical commute landing around 30 to 31 minutes. Population has grown substantially, with 2025 projections landing around 23,700 residents. 5 years ago, the median home price here sat around $400,000. Today, that number has climbed to roughly nearly $540,000. That works out to nearly 10% growth every year, a staggering pace even by Texas standards. So why are people paying more every year to move here? Rolling hills, beautiful scenery, and a small-town atmosphere that feels a world away from crowded coastal cities. Boerne Independent School District has maintained an A rating for 6 straight years according to the Texas Education Agency. For parents leaving overcrowded California districts, that consistency alone can justify the entire move. Would you trade sitting in Los Angeles traffic every day for a 30-minute drive through rolling hill country scenery instead? Something tells me a lot of you already know your answer to that one. Growing medical facilities serve the area alongside larger hospital systems just a short drive away in San Antonio. Interstate 10 provides the primary route in and out of town, with US Highway 87 as a backup for those avoiding it. Traffic remains far more manageable here than in bigger metro areas, though it has noticeably increased in recent years. Multiple reports have actually warned that Boerne could become genuinely unaffordable for longtime residents if this price growth continues. The very charm pulling wealthy Californians here is slowly pricing out families who have lived here for generations. Local shops, weekend markets, and outdoor attractions give the town a genuine social scene without ever feeling crowded or overrun. Still, for millionaires seeking wide-open space and a slower pace of life without sacrificing a real city nearby, Boerne remains hard to beat. Number 3. University Park. University Park sits inside Dallas, and it consistently ranks among the wealthiest suburbs in the entire country. For the second year running, Go Banking Rates placed University Park at number 6 on their list of America's wealthiest suburbs. The numbers here are genuinely staggering. Average household income sits at $389,868. That figure actually increased by over $8,000 compared to the previous year's report. The average home value has climbed past $2,450,000, putting it firmly in 7-figure territory across the board. University Park is home to Southern Methodist University, giving the entire area a distinct academic energy mixed with old money charm. Tree-lined streets, historic architecture, and a walkable downtown core give this neighborhood a completely different feel from the newer suburbs we covered earlier. For California families used to sprawling freeways and endless strip malls, that walkability feels almost European in comparison. Healthcare access here is genuinely exceptional, with major Dallas medical systems including UT Southwestern, located just a short drive away. UT Southwestern consistently ranks among the top medical centers in the entire country, giving residents world-class care without ever leaving the metro area. For families relocating with specific medical needs, that access carries enormous weight in the final decision. Traffic and commuting stays fairly manageable thanks to the Dallas North Tollway running close by, giving residents relatively quick access into downtown Dallas. Most residents report commutes landing somewhere between 15 and 25 minutes, depending on the exact time of day. Compare that to certain Los Angeles neighborhoods, where a similar distance commute can easily stretch past an hour during rush hour. Here is something worth pointing out honestly. University Park is not a place where you will find sprawling ranch-style properties with acres of land. Lots here tend to be smaller and more traditional, closer to what you would expect in an established, historic neighborhood. If wide open space is your top priority, some of the other towns on this list might suit you better. But if walkable streets, prestigious schools, and old money charm matter more to you than acreage, University Park delivers all 3 in spades. The Highland Park Independent School District, which serves much of this area, consistently ranks among the finest public school systems anywhere in Texas. For families willing to trade land for prestige, culture, and academic excellence, that trade-off often feels completely worth it. University Park proves that not every wealthy Texas town needs sprawling estates to attract California money. Sometimes tree-lined streets, a university campus, and genuine old money history are exactly what serious wealth is looking for. Number 2. Southlake. We are getting close to the top now, and Southlake absolutely earns its spot this high on our list. Go Banking Rates rank Southlake as the 7th wealthiest suburb in the entire United States for 2025. Let that number sink in for a second, because that puts Southlake ahead of most wealthy neighborhoods anywhere in the country. Median household income here runs past $240,000 annually. Median home prices typically land somewhere between $1.3 and $1.4 million. Southlake sits in Tarrant County, close enough to Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport that frequent flyers barely notice the distance. For California executives who still travel constantly for business, that airport proximity genuinely simplifies life in a major way. Carroll Independent School District serves Southlake, and it has built a reputation as one of the strongest public school systems anywhere in Texas. Parents relocating from expensive California private schools often discover their kids get an equal or better education here, completely free. That single fact alone convinces plenty of families to make the move. Southlake offers something increasingly rare, and that is a true town center feel combined with serious luxury living. Southlake Town Square gives residents a walkable downtown packed with shopping, dining, and community events throughout the entire year. It genuinely feels like a small town center dropped into the middle of one of the wealthiest zip codes in America. Healthcare access here is excellent, with major Fort Worth and Dallas hospital systems both within a reasonable drive. Baylor, Scott, and White operate significant facilities nearby, giving residents access to comprehensive care without a lengthy commute. Traffic remains a genuine consideration here, since State Highway 114 running through the area can get congested during peak commuting hours. Most residents still report reaching downtown Fort Worth in under 30 minutes, with downtown Dallas taking closer to 40 minutes depending on traffic. Compare either of those numbers to a typical Los Angeles commute, and Southlake starts looking incredibly appealing very quickly. Here is an honest downside worth mentioning before you get too excited. Southlake's popularity has driven prices up significantly over the past several years, and available inventory can be extremely limited at any given time. Homes here often sell within days, sometimes triggering competitive situations among multiple serious buyers. This is not a market where you casually browse for 6 months before deciding. You need to move fast, with everything already in order, the moment the right property appears. For millionaires seeking a true town center feel, exceptional schools, and genuine community atmosphere, Southlake delivers on nearly every front. It represents everything California families say they are looking for, wrapped into one increasingly famous Texas suburb. Number 1. Westlake. The numbers here are almost hard to believe. Westlake currently holds the title of the single wealthiest town in the entire state of Texas. The average home price here now exceeds $4 million, in a town with a population just over 1,400 residents. Projections suggest that population could grow toward roughly 2,100 by 2026, and demand still keeps climbing. So, what exactly justifies price tags this extreme? Westlake is home to the exclusive Vaquero Country Club, built around one of the most prestigious golf courses in North Texas. It is also zoned to Carroll Independent School District, giving residents access to the same elite public schools that make neighboring Southlake so desirable. For wealthy families, that combination of exclusivity, golf, and top-tier schools creates a nearly perfect storm of demand. Here's something worth understanding before assuming Texas automatically means lower taxes across the board. Because Texas relies heavily on property taxes instead, the combined effective rate in areas like Westlake typically lands between 1.7 and 2% of assessed value. On a $4 million home, that adds up to a genuinely significant annual cost, even without any state income tax involved. Healthcare access remains strong, with major Fort Worth and Dallas medical systems both within a reasonably short drive. Traffic stays relatively light given the small population, though nearby Highway 114 can see congestion shared with Southlake traffic. Westlake represents something genuinely unique on this list: extreme exclusivity paired with old-fashioned Texas country club living. This is not a town built for volume or rapid growth like Fulshear or Celina. It is built for privacy, prestige, and residents who want the absolute best without ever leaving their own zip code. For millionaires escaping the noise and constant exposure of Los Angeles, Westlake offers the complete opposite experience: quiet streets, guarded privacy, and a golf course view most people only see in magazines. For the right buyer, that view is worth every extra dollar on the property tax bill. And that brings us to the end of our countdown today. If this list opened your eyes to just how much wealth is quietly relocating into Texas, hit that like button right now. Subscribe too, because we cover stories like this across the entire state every week here on Texas Reality. If you are curious about a completely different side of Texas living, we put together a video comparing everyday life here to one of the state's most talked about cities, called 10 Texas Towns That Are Better Than Austin for Everyday Living. And you can check that out right now by clicking the video on your screen. Thanks for hanging out with me today, y'all. Stay curious, stay grounded, and I will catch you in the next one.